Hello again. I'm back, and so soon as well. Um, I very recently had the chance of seeing a movie on 70 millimeter film, which is super exciting. I've never seen a movie on film before at all, let alone in 70 millimeter. Just as like a little preface for people who may not know what that means, it's just the size of the film that the movie is actually shot on. It's digitally restored, so it's maybe not as like true film as it might have been. You know, it's digitally transferred over from a copy of the film. Only two made of this specific movie in the entire world. One of them here at the Loft in Tucson, Arizona. Such a insane experience to be able to see that. Your standard film is 35 millimeter, or your standard like cinema film is 35 millimeter, so 70 is twice that, allowing you to have a pretty crazy image. But I'll throw up a picture or maybe a video of what this film reel looked like because it's colossal. Like it's huge. I couldn't believe how big the reel itself was. And of course, I should probably tell you what movie I saw. I got to see Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Steven Spielberg's Alien movie from 1977. And I had never seen Close Encounters before, and I was super psyched that they were showing it in 70 millimeter. It's one of the only projectors. It's the only projector in the state that can run 70 millimeter film, aside from like the Arizona Mills IMAX theater, the AMC that's up there in Phoenix, and excuse me, one of the only ones in the country, one of the very few in the country that can run 70 millimeter film. So, obviously, if there's anything that I have to concede about how shitty it is to live in Tucson, Arizona, it's the fact that we have the Loft. But Close Encounters itself, I like it. I don't love it, like a lot of other people seem to, but I'm fond of it. I think it looks fantastic, obviously, and being able to see it on 70 millimeter film really exemplified that. The visuals are fantastic. It's all very spectacular. And seeing it on film really enhances that. I was kind of blown away in that first couple of moments where it's solid black and then it flashes with the desert scene. Oh God, it looks fantastic. And being able to see the cigarette burns to cue the projections to change the film reel is really cool too. I'm really into the novelty of it. But for those of you who don't know, this is a movie about Richard Dreyfuss finding aliens, or well, aliens kind of find him. They're like cruising over the planet, just all over the place. And he encounters them, and he kind of becomes obsessed with them. And this is kind of this is why I say I like the movie and I don't love it. A lot of people absolutely adore this movie, and more power to them. I'm a little more critical of this than I think some people are, and I'm not, like, proud of that, Like, I would have loved to love this movie, but there are some really glaring problems in it that I think are really symptomatic of the rest of Spielberg's filmography. That being that he makes his movies like a child with billions of dollars. Everything after Jaws. Duel and Jaws are not really full of this, like, really naive idealism that he holds. It's really strange. Like, all of his movies are so saccharine and, like, kitschy. It's weird. And I really didn't expect this movie to somehow get there, but it does. And the spoilers, if you haven't seen this movie from 1977, like I hadn't, the thesis at the end of this film. First of all, this is a film with no themes, almost. the theme is, I guess, like believing, But at the very end of the movie, Richard Dreyfuss abandons his wife and two children to go be with the aliens. Huh? What? What the fuck, Spielberg? And that is not an exaggeration. He has this, like, psychotic episode, which, you know, obviously we as the audience know is not a psychotic episode. There's actual basis to what he's doing, where he builds, like, a big mound of Devil's Tower, which is a significant location in the film, in the middle of his kitchen. And his wife takes their two kids and is like, hey, I'm gonna go stay at my sister's for a while. And then we never see them again. And then Richard Dreyfuss flies off with the aliens. And then the movie ends. Like, you don't get to know what happens to those characters. And it's so strange to me that that's how that worked. And I was talking about it with somebody, and he loves the ending to that movie, which is totally fair, you know, to each of their own. But I really didn't want to be like, yeah, I think it's insanely fucking stupid, because I do. And then this, of course, I might not be quite so soured on the ending if it wasn't at the tail end of an unbearably long third act. The third act of this movie could probably be about 10, 20 minutes long. Instead, it's like 45. It's so long. And it just drags, because it's this, like, huge moment of spectacle at the end of the film. But it's all stuff that we've kind of seen before, aside from the big shot of, like, the alien spaceship coming over the top of Devil's Tower. That looks really great. But it's all so, like, you keep cutting back and forth between the scientists and the ships and Francois Truffaut. Also, Francois Truffaut is in this movie for some reason. I haven't looked into it at all. I have no idea how he ended up in this movie. The great filmmaker Francois Truffaut, director of 400 Blows and some other stuff, Stolen Kisses, Bed and Board, I can't remember any of the other stuff that's not part of that Antoine Doinel quadrilogy, but, like, I just, it's kind of boring. It comes off as boring to me. I've kind of always, I try, at least, to, like, look past spectacle in film. Not to try to frame myself as, like, oh, I'm better than people who fucking like spectacle in movies. It's totally fair to like spectacle in movies. I just prefer picking apart, like, story bits, you know? It's why I like movies like Midnight Cowboy and Drugstore Cowboy. Drugstore Cowboy is my favorite movie of all time, and I'm seeing My Own Private Idaho soon, so I will keep you posted on that. Also seeing that at the Loft. But it's just, it's frustrating, because it's really great. Aside from that, the first 45 minutes of this movie are, like, totally unimpeachable. It's fantastic. Everything up to the scene where the lady's kid gets kidnapped. Up to and including that scene. Because that scene is, like, it's stunning. The spaceship comes down out of the clouds and you really don't even see it at all, and it's scary. It's genuinely frightening. And that's one of the biggest strengths of the movie. It's scary, it's funny, it's awe-inspiring, it's saccharine, like I said before. But, yeah, I really don't vibe with the ending. Aside from that, I mean, it's hard for me to judge it, right? Because I understand that I'm watching it in 2026, 50 years after it came out? 49 years after it came out. So, it's hard for me to perceive this movie alone, because it's been parodied endlessly. You have that scene in Monsters vs. Aliens or whatever the fuck, where Stephen Colbert plays the piano. And it's been done to death, pretty much. Every Alien movie that came out after this did this in some kind of way, unless it's like, you know, Ridley Scott's Alien or some shit. But, like, everything borrowed from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And I have a theory, I haven't actually looked into this very much, I have a theory that this movie came out in 1977, right? Same year as Star Wars. I have a theory that this movie came out earlier in the year than Star Wars, because I think if this movie came out after Star Wars, it probably would not have been nearly as iconic. I think it would have been totally overlooked by Star Wars if Star Wars had come out sooner. Kind of the same way that The Thing and E.T. did, where E.T. came out and everybody was like, yes, our Lord and Savior, our God, Steven Spielberg, maker of the Alien movies. And then The Thing came out, and everybody was like, what the hell is this? We want sappy bullshit alien movies, not the literal, like, best practical effects ever put to film. I like The Thing a lot. It's a really good movie. And I think it's a great injustice that that movie flopped so bad when it first came out. But, yeah, I just think stuff like that's interesting. So I'll have to look into that, and I'll probably put up the numbers, whatever the release dates were, in this video somewhere, because I'm curious. It'll inspire me to actually look it up. That's kind of all I have to say. I'm not going to rate these movies at all whenever I talk about them. I've actually stopped rating things on Letterboxd because I don't think movies are supposed to be thought about that way. I think it's stupid to think about movies that way, like comparing them to one another. I got to a point where, like, I watched Breathless, Godard's Breathless, and I was like, oh, well, what am I going to rate it when I'm done watching it? What the fuck? It totally clouded my judgment on, like, what I actually thought of the film, and it was making me compare how I thought about that film to other films, and I hated that. I hate how that felt. So this brings me to a new segment that I'm going to be doing called Physical Media of the Day. And today's Physical Media of the Day, because I have a lot of physical media. This is all movies down here, except, like, these top 3 rows are all, like, Berserk and Invincible. But everything, because this is a 3x3, so this 2x3 grid down here, all movies, exclusively movies. So I figured I'd kick it off with my Criterion copy of Videodrome. Get a look at that sucker. Isn't she gorgeous? I love Videodrome a lot. You've got the VHS case on the inside with the Long Live the New Flesh. And then the disc is a little simple, but, you know, it's forgivable. This one's a really early Criterion. This is... Which spine number is this? 248. When you consider that we're in, like, the 1200s now, that's pretty early on. But I might talk about Videodrome at some point, because I really like Videodrome. I've watched it 2 times this year already, because I like it that much. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you did enjoy and would like to see me ramble about movies more, especially, like, cool cinema experiences that I get to have, because The Loft is in town, so I'm going to be doing that a lot. Like I said, I am unfortunately going to miss their showing of The Room with live commentary by Greg Sestero, followed by Big Shark, Tommy Wiseau's new movie. But I am going to be catching My Own Private Idaho on June 23rd. If you're local, please go to that, because it's going to be fucking fantastic. It's a Gus Van Sant movie that I haven't seen, even though Drugstore Cowboy is my favorite movie of all time. And then I'm seeing The Odyssey in 70mm once again at the end of the month. Or in July, rather. I think it's like mid-July. It's like July 18th, I think, is my showtime. I have my ticket for it already, because I know they're going to sell out really fast. But, yeah.